What's up, y'all? You kicking it with the Junkyard Dog on junkyarddogs.com. My name is Tony, for those of you who don't know. So first and foremost, I'd like to just ask you guys to like, share, and subscribe, and click on that little notification bell at the bottom for more videos, all right? I got plenty of stuff. I think a lot of guys are not catching up on all my videos because I'm not like linking them together. So I'm gonna start doing that for y'all, all right? Don't forget to visit junkyarddogs.com if you're looking to make some extra cash for your project or find some parts for your project. Go ahead and post them, and that way you don't have to hear your old lady screaming in your ear about how much money you spend on car parts, all right? Remember, Junkyard Dogs got 2 D's and 2 G's. I think a lot of people have been going to this other site, which is not my site. My site looks like this, as you can see right here. So today we're back on Project Mayhem. Last episode I was putting in the flywheel. I ran into a little roadblock because I didn't have the proper socket to tighten down the flywheel bolts. But we did that already. I had to take them back out, put new thread locker, put them back in, boom. So now we're gonna work on a few different things today. So first we're gonna work on putting in the clutch and the pilot bearing, all right? Well, not actually using a pilot bearing, we're actually using a pilot bushing. So I'm gonna show you guys how to do that and the differences between a good pilot bushing and a bad pilot bushing, okay? And after that, I'm going to change out the fuel injectors. As you guys see here, I ended up getting, at first I had some 30-pound fuel injectors, EV1 style fuel injectors, which I was just gonna make work. They're just barely enough for a supercharged application. They did come in the Thunderbirds, the supercharged Thunderbirds with the 3.8 supercharger, okay? I did a trade, which is always dope. You're on junkyarddogs.com, you can do trades. So I traded a dude a rear end with Fox length axles, and I painted it and did all this crazy stuff, did the brake conversion. You guys saw that 2 episodes ago. And I traded that for some 42-pound fuel injectors, and I also got a deep sump gas tank, okay? So you know, it's the regular stock gas tank, but they welded on a little thing on the bottom with 2 bungs for an external fuel pump, all right, which is pretty dope. So yeah, so I'm gonna be changing out the fuel injectors as well. I also bought these NGK spark plugs. These are cold plugs. So the stock NGK plugs are usually TR5s. So I just got these TR6. I just want a step colder than stock. I don't know if I really want to get too cold with the plugs because I'm gonna be running water meth, so I don't know how that's gonna work out, and they're fairly cheap, so I can always change them later if I run into any issues. Yeah, we got a busy day today, man, so let's quit this jaw jacking and get cracking, all right? Boom. This is a pilot bushing. Usually in the Foxes, they'll have a pilot bearing, so on the inside of here, there'll be little rollers. And some people think they're better because there's less friction and it gets to roll, but the problem is with pilot bearings is when they fail, they destroy the input shaft, which is to me more costly than the pilot bearing, you know, and sometimes it's really hard to find. In this particular instance, I'm actually, I was gonna go with an LT1 setup, but it turned out that it's too short, and the Bellhousing that I picked up from eBay is actually for a Cobra T56. So I went ahead and got a T56, a Cobra T56 front plate, and I'm actually having the Chevy LS1 input shaft turned down to fit this diameter here, okay? So this is the pilot bushing that came with the Mcleod Clutch, and this is one that I have from a 67 Cougar, okay? They're the same depth and everything. Problem is, at any time you do it using the pilot bushing, this one here, as you can see, it's a little bit more lighter. You take a magnet, and this is how you're gonna know if you're really dealing with bronze or not. You see when I stick it on this? Nothing, okay? That's really bronze, okay? This, for instance, is bronze magnetic, right? So that means there's iron in this. So I wouldn't dare use this in a car with an input shaft that I want to last, because this will essentially have the same effect as a roller bearing if it fails, you know? So no, I don't want to use this. So we're gonna install this one. I think these are called oil light style, so they got oil kind of impregnated into them. It is really important for you guys to know not to add any grease or oil to this. Don't do that. Okay, you put it in just the way it is. because they're impregnated with oil, so there's oil inside of them. So what we're looking at here is the Mcleod pressure plate. This is the actual clutch itself. Okay. This is the throwout bearing for the Cobra T56, and as I showed you guys previously, this is the pilot bearing. All right. So the kit did not, for some reason, which I find crazy for the price, that they didn't come with bolts. So I had to go pick up some pressure plate bolts. I'm gonna also be adding a starter as well. I got this PowerMaster starter I'm gonna be using. So I got the 2 starter bolts. These bolts here are to secure the block plate to the bell housing, and these are the bell housing bolts. We are going to install the pilot. We got this little bearing driver here. You want to make sure that you try to get it in as squarely as possible, because if not, it will shave the end and it will be loose. All right, so take your time here. There it is. It's in there. It's got to be in there flush, okay? All right. Pilot is in. So I need to make sure that this surface was really clean. This is a brand new flywheel, so I don't have to resurface it, but if you are using a used flywheel, make sure you have it resurfaced, okay? Yeah, you want to make sure it's flat, because if it's not flat, you're gonna have high spots and the clutch is gonna be super choppy and run like crap. All right, so now that the flywheel's in, what we're gonna do is install the clutch disc and the pressure plate. So, just for you guys who think that everything on the Ford is a standard measurement, no, these bolts are metric. It is actually M8 1.25. I mistakenly thought they were 5/16 18 and threw away $6 buying the wrong bolts. So even the dog makes mistakes. All right, so let's get this clutch up there. This outside portion here, the raised portion, faces the back of the car. And try your best not to put any grease or anything on there. So we got the pressure plate here. And then there's these locating pegs we kind of want to slide it over. So you want to get a bolt ready with thread locker on it, so that you could kind of just put it up and in there and actually thread one bolt in so it doesn't fall back on your face. I honestly should have did all this when it was still on the stand, you know, but now that's an afterthought, and here I am, so screw it, we're going in. I'm not gonna tighten up any of the bolts yet, because there's actually a way to tighten this. You gotta go little, because if you go on one side, you won't be able to get this alignment tool out. It proves to be very difficult. That's just been my experience. Okay, so now that you have the pressure plate in, so the way you want to draw down the bolts is you're gonna go a little over here until you feel a little resistance, and then you come over here, you feel a little resistance, and then you come over here. All right, so after you've put in all the pressure plate bolts, you're gonna lock them down to 35 foot-pounds. All right, let's go. I use the needle tight because I can closely monitor what I'm doing. All right, so now that you've got all the bolts bolted down, you should be able to pull this right out. A little hard, but it's in there. All right, so now that we've got the clutch pressure plate and the clutch in, we're gonna lift this heavy scatter shield is what they call it. I don't even call this a bell housing anymore. It's a scatter shield, just in case things blow up. Throw them in there on the dowel pins. Now, mind you, I'm supposed to index this bell housing to make sure that it's straight. I don't want to do that. I'm going to just go on ahead and bolt it in. If the transmission jacks up, well, whatever, you know, because I'm going to trust the Quicktime is doing their thing. And there's a video, and I put the link below for those of you who are interested in that process. I'm not gonna do it because it's just taking too much time. But basically what it is you want to make sure that everything is straight going into the back of the block there. All right, you don't want any side load, but I'm not doing that today. I'm good. All right, so we got the bell housing on now, and we're gonna go ahead and stick the starter on. What I like about this bell housing is that you can actually look inside and see whether or not the starter is engaging the flywheel when it's off. And that way you can check if you need to shim it, you know? So what I want to check for now is I'm going to look inside here. I know it's hard to kind of see under here, but I'm going to look inside to see if the starter gear is engaging the flywheel. So I'm going to stick my head in there real quick, because you can see pretty well. So that's it. We got the bell housing in, we got the clutch in, the pressure plate, the pilot bearing, and everything. So now pretty much just get ready for the T56, get that in there. And it looks like I might have to like bang up the floor right here, because the T56 is pretty thick. It's gonna probably come and hit. And yeah, looks like it's gonna friggin' hit right there. So yeah, we have to figure that out. Maybe cut it out and weld in something like my buddy Shane, because he's dope. All right, so now that we've got the clutch and bell housing in, we're moving on to the fuel injectors. So these are the 42-pound EV6 style injectors that I got from the homie Victor in a trade. And these are the 30-pounders. Let me see if I can get them out easy. These are 30-pounders, all right? As you can see, the difference between the two here. One's like, you know, it's a little slimmer, one's a little cooler, better design. And like I showed you guys in the old video, this one has 4 pinholes and this has 1. So these will give me better fuel atomization, and they're 42 pounds. So give me a little bit more oomph. So if anybody wants these, the 30-pounders, they are going to be on junkyarddogs.com. Boom, so the rail's ready to go back in. So the rail's ready to go back in here. And then for the plugs here, I'll show you guys. Alright, so this is the NGK TR6 plug. So this is a step colder than stock, and I'm gonna gap them. They say they're pre-gapped at 35.35. I don't trust that. I always check them. So you're gonna see this little tool that is literally by the cashier at almost every O'Reilly's in the country, and it's got numbers on them for increments or whatever. So you're gonna go to the 0.35, which is right there. You're gonna just gently, now don't force it, you're just gonna gently get in there and see if it goes to 3.5, which it's a little wider, but that's probably me pushing it a little hard. So we're gonna check all of them, make sure they're at 35, and then go ahead and throw them in. Take out these little papers I had in there to kind of stop dirt from getting in the hole. Just thread them in. Okay. That's one. Let's do the other 8. I'm gonna get these rails in. So we're gonna have a connection that goes from here to here. There's a hole right here in the middle. I believe that's for a fuel pressure regulator of some sort. And then the fuel actually comes up from here on the Foxes, as most of you guys already know. So it comes up on this side here. For in the 85, which is this vehicle's in 85, the fuel line's actually on that side. So I don't know, I may be able to kind of rearrange this, but for right now, 42-pound injectors are in. All right, so that does it, man. We had a full-on day of activities, man. So we went ahead and put in the spark plugs. We went ahead and put in new injectors. dropped in the Bellhousing, clutch, pressure plate, all that good stuff. And then after that, the next video you guys see, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the A-arms, and I'm gonna use some of that KBS coating once again on my A-arms and my spindles, okay? Just so that they don't get that rusty kind of look. You know how spindles look, you know, because they're bare metal or whatnot. So yeah, and that'll give me a way to put the wheels back on, put it back on the ground. I'm still waiting for to find the kit for my bump steer kit. So I bought it secondhand, and I, for the life of me, cannot find the bolts. So I had to hit up Maximum Motorsports for another set. So I'm waiting on that. We getting there, man, one day at a time, all right? Be sure to go to junkyarddolls.com for any of your new and used part needs. I'm still working on getting products on there, but hey, little by little, the tortoise wins the race, all right? So we out here, man, junkyard dogging. Whoa!